Ikuzo.
Uh, and listen, there's a popular meme in the MMA world. Whenever some fighter does something that pisses off Dana White, there's a meme that says that rephrases the quote he said about you. This guy, whoever he is, was never my friend. Were you friends, Stitch? Based on his opinion, that's pretty legendary meme in the MMA world.
Really, it's funny you say that because I did a show in Dallas, and this former basketball player is now kind of like a commentator for Showtime.
Yeah.
So we take a picture together, and he puts it out on Twitter that if you guys don't know who this guy is, so and so. So those remarks were replied by people. I didn't know that they existed. The Stitch and I were never friends, and there was like 5 messages, and 3 of them had that. Oh yeah, we're back to the Stitch and I were never friends, right? And so it became a meme, and God, it's been what 7, 8 years since the UFC let me go, and people all over the world still stop me and they associate me with the UFC. I was going through some channel surfing the other day, my wife and and we stopped at UFC shows on ESPN, and jokingly I tell my wife, I wonder if they'll show me. 5 seconds later, my name Stitch is they got my back, so they can't get rid of me. But so the love and support has been tremendous all over the world and all over the world. Had one of the royals in Dubai come and F Dana and this and that, and out of respect for you, and had one of these Brazilian coaches. Tell you, we did the show boxing in the bubble, right? At the MGM.
Mm-hmm.
When Luis, I used to train Anderson Silva, top trainer, Doria, he comes up to me because we're on lockdown and we're having lunch. It's like prison, bro. So he has his tray, he comes up to me, but he says, Stitch, of all the compliments I've got, this one was the best. He says, Stitch, we, the coaches, the fighters, we thank you for speaking up because we couldn't. Oh, that said it all right there, man.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you got to speak up for what's right.
Yeah, that's what I intended to tell you, because now, not just from fans, but from fighters, you got a lot of support, a lot of love, because you did something honorable and you spoke for those who were silent, basically.
Yeah.
And now that smoke settled and everything, would you do it again? Do you regret it?
Regret speaking up?
Yeah.
No, bro, I'm trying to get these guys unionized right now. Shit, we're not over, man. I'm working with some people from big unions that want to get involved, and so no, hey, this is a long run for me. That was just the beginning. But when that opportunity came, because keep in mind the fighters were making a lot of money on sponsors.
Yeah,
we were making cutman. I was making money on sponsors. When they would come to me, I would sell my deal to them. Then I would include the other cutmen. So they wouldn't get paid, but I got paid. But you had 3 or 4 sponsors, and Leon Taz bought a Cadillac. But we did. So when they took all that away, it just wasn't fair. And being that going back to my life, when I grew up as a farm worker, my parents, Cesar Chavez was our leader, the guy that fought for our rights at that time.
Amazing.
And so my parents were in that revolution, trying to unionize the farm workers. So when I got a call from John Nash, never met him, from Bloody Elbow. He calls and asks, would you be interested in doing an interview on how the Reebok deal affected the cutmen? And I thought about my parents and all the people that were fighting for fair practices for farm workers. Listen, there was no restroom for women out in the fields. My mom and sisters would have to go down the orchard, go there and go to the restroom. And we all drank out of the same metal can, same tin can. That was it. They would spray pesticides in the fields next to us and, all that shit. So they always fought for the rights. So when the guy asked me if I'd be interested in doing an interview, I thought about my parents. And I said, if I didn't speak up, they wouldn't be proud of me. So I spoke if you read the interview, I've done tons of interviews. People say there was nothing that was said, except for maybe the fact that maybe I got to concentrate on boxing because it pays a little bit more than UFC. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what pissed Dana off, right?
Yeah.
But I had to do it, and so I'm getting tons and tons of messages when it comes out, the interview, right? F Dana, F Reebok, F UFC, and go. And I did like 57 interviews in a week. I had camera crews coming to my house. It was the biggest thing in MMA, right? And the thing about it, yeah. See, Dana, I knew Dana before the gyms, before the UFC.
Yeah.
He was always in the gyms. You know, he said he was in boxing, but in all fairness, I never saw him work a fight. You know, he might have been in boxing as an amateur in Boston, but here he would do pads for the executives and their wives. And shit, he was making money, but he hooked up with the Fertittas. And the Fertittas are the ones that bought the UFC, and Dana was friends with them, and that's how he became president. But he brought me in, and bless his heart for that. He's the one that changed my life, and because at that time it was only Leon Tabs, the original cutman from UFC #1.
Yeah.
The legend, the godfather of cutman.
Yes.
So Dana brought me in. I was doing a K1 at the Bellagio. Bob Sapp fought Chemo.
Oh, that's the weird times. Weird times.
Yeah. I tell you, I've done them all, bro. So Dana was in the audience, right? And he says, "Hey man, give me a card," you know. And the next day he calls and said, "Look, we got the UFC interested in being a cutman." And of course, you know, I quit watching the original UFC because it was just too violent. There was no rules and
barely rules.
Yeah, barely, yeah. So, but Dana said that they had implemented all these additional rules, and I figured, yeah, let me join. So it was Leon Tabs and myself, and Burt Watson. Burt Watson, we're the three amigos. But the program that Burt Watson put with handling the fighters in the dressing rooms and all that, Burt created all of that, walking them into the work that we do as cutmen. Leon Tabs and myself created that. Now everybody Universal uses it because it works, you know. So we're there to teach, and so yeah. But man, I did tons of interviews, and then one of my friends calls me. My wife and I are at Costco, and we're all friends, right? So Jesse calls me and says, "Hey,
I'm
man,
a friend.
We got time to talk, right?" Yeah. You were never my friend either, bro. Anyway, Jesse calls and asks if I could talk. I said, "No, I'm at Costco. Call me in an hour." Well, 2 hours or an hour later, Jesse and Mark called my two friends, and the only thing that Mark says is, because of the interview you did about Reebok, the UFC is not going to use you no more. Bam! It's like a shot right here. Same chair, same place that they fired me as I'm talking to you guys. So I'm going my messages, and the first one I see is I respond back to the guy, and I said, you know, just want to let you be the first to know. UFC just let me go for speaking.
I remember the tweet.
Yeah, I got to find a new job. That shit went viral. The interviews continued, and it was so bad that the guy from Reebok, my wife and I and my son are having breakfast, and we're in the kitchen, and the phone rings, and it's Mike, the guy from Reebok, and he's apologizing. Man, we had nothing to do with it, and, you know, and it's all right. I understand. I know it had nothing to do with them, but it was about Reebok. It was about that program. And when I did the first Creed, Wesley Snipes comes up to me, shakes my hand, and says, "Hey, the UFC did you wrong." I said, "Wow." Even Hollywood knew about it. So the whole world, yeah. So I'm proud to do what I did and always fight for your rights.
We stay genuine, uncensored and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us and subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. Ikuzo!